I'll go ahead and start the introduction. So our speaker today is Megan Smedley. She is the Director of Public Relations and Alumni Engagement at Maysville Community and Technical College. She is just here today to talk with you about her career and her education and just things like that. I'll let her present, and then afterward, I'll open the floor for questions from students. So just be thinking about what questions you want to ask at the end. All right, so Megan, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. You should be able to share your screen.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you all so much for having me tonight. It's truly a pleasure. When we get to the questions portion, obviously asking questions about marketing and PR and my degrees and all that's great. But if you have any questions about how I got from point A to point whatever I'm at now, maybe like I'm thinking at like point L maybe. But if you have questions, feel free to ask anything. I'm a pretty open book. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Maybe we use Teams at Maysville, so let's see, I want you see if it'll show it. And sure. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect. Fabulous. Okay. So as your coordinator said, my name is Megan Smedley. I'm the Director of Public Relations and Alumni Engagement at Maysville Community and Technical College. I have been here since July of this year in this role. So I'm very excited, like I said, to talk to you all today. Definitely a pleasure. So let's start. Okay. So the key takeaway from this PowerPoint, if you know who this little feller is on the side, his name's Daniel Tiger. He is my daughter's favorite cartoon character. We have had many a Daniel Tiger themed birthday parties, and Daniel Tiger always sings songs throughout his show that teaches little people a life lesson. And one of those life lessons, and something that's going to be a takeaway from our presentation today, is things may change and that's okay. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. So a little bit or a lot about me. This is 2 slides long, so we're going to go more with it being a lot. So the first thing I'd like you to know about me is that I am the child of a tobacco farmer. Actually, both my parents farmed tobacco. My dad, it was generational. My dad was a child of a tobacco farmer, oldest of 6 kids. And so he has little to no formal education. I think the highest grade level he completed was 6th grade. That was a very different time than it is now. But he quit school to help support the family and work with his dad in the fields. My mom quit school at the age of 17. She was in foster care, and her foster parent at that time gave her the option of either getting married or joining the military because she wasn't going to continue to keep her in the home. And so she chose to marry my dad. And so she has since gone back and gotten her GED, but neither one of them have their actual high school diplomas. Neither one of them college educated. And so something that I take extreme pride in is, first of all, I'm the first person in I'm an only child. So I'm the first person in my immediate family to graduate from high school, class of 2008. You all can do the math on how old I am if you'd like. But during my educational career at Lewis County, I was a member of Talent Search. And it's very important for a couple of different reasons. One, obviously, I'm speaking to a group of educational Talent Search students. When I emailed Katie and said that I'd like to do this, it's very meaningful to me to be able to pay it forward. Talent Search gave me so much. I tell people all the time that I would not have been able to go to college had it not been for my Talent Search coordinator, because she literally held my parents' hand through the process of admitting me into me going to college. My parents had no idea how to fill out a FAFSA. They had no idea what the application process was like. And so had I not been a member of Talent Search, I probably would have not have gone to college. And therefore, I would have not have achieved the dreams I've been able to achieve as a result. So, like I said, graduated in 2008, went to Morehead State University, proud Eagle alum. I earned a bachelor's degree in 2012 in secondary English education. And this is where we're getting ready to meet Daniel Tiger again. So I taught in Lewis County, taught high school English my first year of teaching, 2012, 2013, and then went on to teach middle school English language arts from 2013 to 2016, and was like, you know what, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And I'm here to tell you that if you would have asked me from like sixth grade on what I wanted to do with my life, I would have said I want to be a teacher, and that was it. And so but by 2016, I realized this isn't for me. I'll just be honest with you. There was a lot of stuff going on in Frankfurt at the time. There was a lot of animosity for teachers by the administration that was in office. And so I resigned. I couldn't imagine doing that for the next 20 plus years. Nothing against teachers. I loved being a teacher as far as working with students, but really struggled with the red tape that went along with teaching and the different aspects of government influence that happen in public schools. So left teaching, had no idea what I was going to do. Zero clue. And that is, if you know me in real life, you know that is not characteristic of me. I'm a planner. And so I left education and saw a posting in the newspaper. Actually, I think it was on Twitter at the time, for the Morehead News in Morehead, Kentucky, was looking for a reporter. They didn't say education reporter, they just said reporter. And so I applied for that position, got hired that day, and they wanted me to serve as their education reporter. So I covered Rowan County Schools, Maysville Community and Technical College, Rowan campus, and Morehead State University, and covered all their education news. So in the meantime, I earned a master's degree in teacher leadership while I was working at the newspaper. I really considered quitting working on that master's degree because I wasn't teaching anymore. And at the time, teachers had to get a master's within 5 years of starting their careers. That no longer is the expectation now, but at the time it was. And so when I left teaching, I didn't want to finish that degree. I wasn't going to teach anymore. My husband really pushed me to finish that degree because, you know, we had invested so much in it and it's proven very valuable to me. So finished that in 2017, got my first master's, and then was laid off from the Morehead News in May of 2018 due to a 50% reduction in staffing. If you are from the Morehead area, you know that the Morehead News has since permanently closed. They no longer have a paper, but at the time, they did a 50% layoff. It was May. I was 6 months pregnant with my daughter. And so I accepted that layoff and sat at home for the next 3 months and ate ice cream and walked to the mailbox and collected my unemployment check and did not complain for a minute about that because it was miserably hot. But my daughter was born that August. And, oh, there's Daniel Tiger. Things may change. Thought I was going to teach forever. Chose not to. And that's okay. And it's proven to be a good choice for me. So after my daughter was born, I was offered a job opportunity at Ashland Community and Technical College as an e-learning student support specialist. The only requirement for that job was obviously to have some technological abilities, some familiarity with Blackboard, but the only actual requirement was a master's degree. So had I not completed that master's degree in 2017, I would not have been eligible to apply for that job. So got that job. My daughter was 5 weeks old when I was hired for it. And I chose to pursue another master's degree to keep my teaching certificate from expiring. I have since decided that because we have to either be actively teaching in the classroom or have to earn 6 credit hours in graduate work to keep a Kentucky teaching certificate active. I've since decided that when it expires this time, I'm not going to work to continue to keep that active. I don't know that education is going to be where my heart is again. So, but that's why I chose that second master's. I completed it last May. It is a degree in educational technology, also from Morehead State University. I'm a 3-time Morehead State grad. My next degree will be a doctorate whenever I decide to pursue that. Anyhow, so I was happily working as an e-learning student support specialist, helping students on campus with Blackboard and Microsoft issues that they were having. And there was some turnover in the marketing and PR office at Ashland. The director at the time had decided to step away. She was going to pursue a career in real estate. And so her public relations specialist applied for her position. When the public relations specialist was not offered the director's position, she put in her 2-week notice and blue skidooed on out. She was done. And so because of that, they were looking for someone who would write a weekly column for the Ashland Daily Independent Ashland. And because I had that journalism experience, no journalism education, but because I had that experience, I was able to serve the marketing and PR department in that capacity while they were looking for a new PR director. So when they hired the new director, I received a full-time job offer as a public relations specialist in October 2020. And then my twins, Lincoln and Logan, were born in December 2022. They're getting ready to celebrate their first birthday. Right after I came back from maternity leave with my twins in March, found out that the director of marketing and public relations here at Maysville had accepted a job offer at our systems office in Versailles. And so I applied for the director of public relations position that they had. They have now since tackled on the alumni engagement part, but that's okay. I'm enjoying it. But I applied for that position and was offered it. My first day, like I said earlier, was July 16th. So not only do things change, but the other key takeaway is everything in your life happens for a reason. Nothing happens by accident. There aren't any coincidences. Everything happens for a purpose. Every step of my journey has provided me with the key for the next step in my journey. Like I said, I would not have been eligible for the e-learning support specialist position without the master's degree. I would not have been able to do the writing for the college had I not worked at the paper. I would not have been able to work at the paper if I didn't have that education background in teaching. So, I mean, there's every step of my journey has propelled me to the next step of my journey. Nothing happens by accident. So when you're looking at your life's journey and you're looking at making these choices, know that everything that you do and every choice that you make is going to lead you on to bigger and better things. So my why for everything I do, this is Savannah Jane. And then here is Lincoln and Logan. And I have to include them because I talked about them so much earlier, but they're the reason why I do everything I do, the reason why I try to be better, do better, live better. And I'm just looking at those pictures and I'm getting emotional about it because, like, I look back at 5-year-old Megan, my daughter's 5, and think, you know, who knew that you were going to go on and do the things that you've done? And I look at Savannah, one day she's literally going to take over the world. Like, she may be like a gang leader or a CEO, but she's going to lead somebody somewhere because she's so passionate about everything. And then of course my miracle twins, who just were our happy little accident. So anyhow, now that's the about me, the little or a lot, however you want to define that. I only took 13 out of my 20 to 30 minutes to talk about myself. Now I'm going to talk about our college. So MCPC serves 17 counties, all the way from Brown and Adams County, Ohio, down to Powell and Wolf County. Very similar to the Morehead State University service region. So we serve those counties. We have 4 campuses, these aren't 4 distinct colleges. These campuses all fall under the Maysville Community and Technical College umbrella, but we're at 4 different locations. Our Licking Valley campus is in Cynthiana. Then we have our Maysville campus, obviously in Maysville, Montgomery's in Mount Sterling, and then our Rowan campus, which is where I'm at today, which is my home campus in Morehead, right off the Industrial Parkway, off 801, or on 801. So, as a director of public relations, what do I do? Well, I'm here to tell you I copied and pasted this straight from my job description when I applied for this job. So basically, my purpose is to support the mission of the college in a couple of different ways, by communicating with the press and media, the public, government leaders, and different community organizations and elected officials. And then here were my job duties. And this is not including the alumni engagement portion. This is strictly public relations. So I plan, write, and distribute press releases, speeches, and presentations to promote the college. I write anywhere around 1 to 2 press releases every single week that are about a variety of topics, whether it is our student and alumni success stories, whether it's enrollment information and registration dates, whether it is other events happening on campus, either before the event to promote it to get people on campus to attend, or after the event to let people know that it happened. So lots of press releases. I do a lot of our president's speeches, like I do the writing for those. So, and then different presentations. I develop and manage relationships with all news media. I handle weather-related and crisis communications in conjunction with our systems office. And if you don't understand what the systems office is, there are 16 colleges in our system. And our systems office is kind of like, let's think about this like a school system. You have these different schools within a county, and then the superintendent kind of oversees all the counties or all the schools within the county. Our systems office is very much that way. Our systems office staff support each college and their different initiatives and things. But there are, like I said, 16 colleges. There's Ashland, Maysville is local, Bluegrass is in Lexington. Does somebody have a question? I thought I heard somebody unmute. Maybe. We have Big Sandy down in Prestonsburg. So those are our local ones, but there are 16 in general. I serve as the legislative liaison for the college. I speak to our state and local officials relatively frequently. I coordinate with our community organizations as far as our memberships and attendance. That's specifically the local Chamber of Commerce's. And then I attend our, we call them our peer team meetings, the marketing and PR meetings with KCPCS. Those are the big things that I do. So why do I love my job? And this picture was supposed to fade in, but this was my first event that I hosted on campus. It was Governor Brashear coming to announce a partnership between us and Edgewater and St. Clair Healthcare in Moorhead. It was August 21st was the date of that event. I barely worked at Maysville a month, and I had the governor coming. So it was a great day. So why do I love my job? Well, I thrive on human connection. Like, I love working with people. I love interacting with people. And so I thrive on making those connections, building those relationships and networking. I love being able to have a positive impact on the people in this community. And that is more overarching with the mission of the college. Like, we want to get people enrolled, we want to get people in classes, we want to get people graduated, and we want to get people on their start to a better life. And so while I'm not a frontline worker getting people, like, I'm not an advisor, I'm not a faculty member, like, I don't have a direct impact on people's educational experience here at the college. I do feel like being able to share the success stories of our students and our alumni, and maybe letting people see that, hey, this person did this thing, they're just like me, they've had a similar trajectory as I have, I can do that too. And then they enroll and they do the things. I feel like that is my contribution to bettering the lives of the people in this community. And when I say this community, I'm talking about, those 17 counties. And as a Lewis County girl, my heart's at Maysville, because that was town when I was growing up. Maysville had a Walmart and Lewis County did not. So, like, these are my people. I get to shape the narrative of how people perceive the college. So much of what you do in PR is making sure that the college or business or whatever institution you're working for, you're making sure they look good. There's so much negative publicity that can come out about different agencies. And so as the PR person, your job is to shine the best positive light on your business as you can. I get to celebrate the success of students just like me. And I get to write for a living. Okay, so confession, if 100% I could choose my dream career and do whatever I wanted the rest of my life, I would be a best-selling young adult romance novelist. Like, that's the dream. But that's also not super realistic. And as someone who loves to write, and wants to write for a living, this job is the best case scenario. I get to write every single day. I get to tell stories about people. And so if you're looking for a job where you get to write for a living, they're few and far between, but I strongly encourage a job in public relations. So the job outlook. Now I'm here to tell you, I pulled this chart from the Occupational Outlook Handbook that people encourage you to look at. This is a national, these are national data sets that are collected. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble. I pulled this for public relations specialists. They didn't actually have a director of public relations listed on there. I'm sure it would have been like marketing and PR, because a lot of times those two are clumped together. I'm going to pop some bubbles. As a director currently in higher education, I am still not making anywhere near $67,000 a year. I'll be completely frank and open with you all. I make somewhere around $50,000 a year before taxes. So don't go into this thinking you're going to be a gazillionaire. Now, I work for I work in public industry as a higher education employee. I work for the state. If you work in the private sector, somewhere like a hospital or, some large scale company that's privately owned, you may make a little more. But just know that even as a director, $67,000 isn't where it's at. Like, it's nowhere, I'm not there yet. And I don't know, even with how many ever years of experience I get before I retire, that I'll even get there before I retire working in Kentucky in higher education. So just keep in mind those are national numbers when you're looking at those things. But the job outlook, some things to think about. Where do you want to live? There are, I'm thinking about just in Rowan County alone, how few of public relations positions there actually are available. We have here, we have Maysville Community Technical College, we have St. Clair Healthcare, we have Morehead State University. Those are the big three. Rowan County Schools used to have someone to do that. That person, when they retired, they didn't refill that position. Very few public school systems. I'd say somewhere like Jefferson and Fayette County might, just because they're so big. But very few local school systems have someone who does their public relations work. So you're looking at bigger companies who offer those. You may look like Frontier Housing here in Rowan County. They have someone. It's like a mid-sized company, but the job opportunities are pretty limited. So you have to think, if you're wanting to legitimately pursue a career in public relations, you've got to think, okay, what are the prospective opportunities for me for where I'm living? And am I willing to move if those positions are already filled? There is the option to be able to come back home if those positions open up. For example, I happen to know that the director of marketing and public relations at St. Clair is about to resign. They're filling that position right now. So there are chances to come back, but while you're waiting, you may have to go somewhere else or do something else in the meantime. There's a lot of talk about what job outlooks for any job in business and industry is going to look like because of artificial intelligence and chat GPT and all those things. I'm here to tell you, as of right now, public relations is a pretty safe field, because the one thing that chat GPT is still struggling with in art and AI, that's just the brand. One thing they're really struggling with right now is getting that authentic sounding voice. And so there's a lot of instances where it sounds very computerized because, it's not a human. And so in writing public relations and marketing to different demographics of people, you have to be able to channel that voice. And unfortunately, AI, well, I say unfortunately, good for me, but AI just isn't capable of that at this point. And something else to think about, there are lots of ways to get into public relations. I don't have a journalism degree. I haven't taken the first journalism class. My degree is in English education, and because of my lived experience, I was able to get there. But you don't just have to have a journalism degree to get there. I love this meme. I'm not going to go over it with you. I'll let you look at it on your own time. But So some similar fields that you can go into if PR isn't exactly what you want, but you do want to do that kind of that creative, people-driven job. Marketing is a big one. Maysville Community Technical College actually has me as the public my brain just quit working. Public relations director, but then we have a marketing manager who does all our graphic design, advertising, those types of things. So if you're more artsy and less writery, that's probably where you're going to want to go. Journalists, obviously still doing like newspaper writing, on which print newspapers pretty well to the wayside now. You're looking more online. Fundraising. And so at Maysville Community Technical College, we call that our advancement office. Those are the people who go out and talk to donors and attempt to raise money for the college. Hospitals have that. There's a lot of different places where you can do that. Public information officer, that's basically the same thing I do, but they do it more for like police departments and that kind of thing. If there were a crisis situation here at Maysville, and I was coordinating with our local police agencies, the PIO is the person that I would be trying to track down to help me relay information to the public. Government affairs, working, as a lobbyist or those types of things, and event planning. Okay, so that's all I have as far as information. I kept it under time. It's a miracle. I looked at my presentation after I reached out to you, Katie, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to cap this at 30 minutes, but I made it. I talked really fast. So here's my contact information. At any point through your journey from now to career that you want to reach out to me and ask questions, I'm happy to work with you and try to help you however I can. So feel free to write down my email address and send me any questions that you have as you navigate. But I'm also happy to answer any questions that you have right now. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily even have to be about my job. If you have questions about my educational journey, anything at all.
Well, they're still thinking of questions. I actually have a question that I got while you were presenting. So for students that are interested in any of in your career or any careers in public relations or marketing, what kind of skills should they work on developing now while they're still in middle or high school?
So if you're wanting to do the writing side of things like I do, obviously enhancing your writing skills is always, a good strategy, making sure. Now, I will tell you something that I really struggled with as I transitioned from like working on my master's degree and doing the academic writing like you do in English class. One thing I really struggled with was transitioning to news writing because like a paragraph is a sentence. And so it was really something that I had to, it was like a switch in my brain that I had to flip. And I still to this day, if I am like this most recent master's degree that I completed, if I would go to work, I would still have to flip that switch and then come home and flip it back and do the academic writing because in one, you're trying to be so concise and in the other, you're trying to be so descriptive. So that's something I would encourage you to work on and research, like look at different press releases. You're welcome to go to our webpage anytime and look at what I'm writing, and any major company or business has a news section that they can that you can read the different articles that they've been publishing, even if they're not necessarily in the newspaper or online. Then the other big thing that I would really encourage you to focus on is those soft skills, those people skills of, like time management, being able to show up, be punctual, make sure that if you have an interview with someone that you're getting, like you're writing a press release about, make sure that you're on time to the thing, make sure that you have good communication skills, different things like that. Those soft skills that I think some of our career and tech centers are really pushing. Make sure that you're really practicing those and making sure that you are prepared to communicate with the public.
Do you have any questions? You can type them in the chat. And if not, thank you for presenting today. It was great to hear from a former TRIO or a talent search student. And I see that your contact information is on there for the students. So
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, anytime, it doesn't matter if it's next week, next year, when you're getting ready to graduate, from college, even if it's a question about like Morehead State and you're looking for somebody who doesn't work there to give you
Mhm.
feedback about different experiences, because obviously the folks who work at Morehead State are trying to get you to come to Morehead State. I get that. So any questions that you have about anything, just feel free to send me a message and I'll get back to you.